fashion can be sustainable, and to get deeper insights about it, I was interested in all this.
Alright, great. Super. I wanna. Do you know, do you know anything about me? No. Do you know? No, tell me what you.
I did for your Instagram and
Okay.
I like to bring the concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, please. I just want to know. So I do multiple things. I run a charity
But
thrift.
when you create the auditor, I was telling my friend that that's a really nice saree.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it's also about I'm talking here about this charity thrift that I run, which is called the Preloved Company, and you guys can check it out on Instagram. It's called the Preloved Co. And basically we are a charity thrift. So the question here is that how have we been running? We managed to donate in the last 2 years about 7 lakh rupees to various causes based in Bangalore. And we work only with donations. So how many of you thrift here? So just also, when have you also gotten rid of your clothes to a thrift store?
Yes.
Have you also sold? Have you also sold, or have you donated? Donated. So when you donate, does it go to your friends and people of your equals, or do you donate it to somebody below your, let's say, social economic strata? Pardon?
The needy.
Yeah, the needy, right? So what happens is that what is different? Is that okay? Yeah.
Hello?
So what is the difference? Okay, listen, this is just, I'm going to be anyway sharing with you a presentation which is about we had pitched it to how to take the Preloved Co to a setup like a Google or a Prestige or a really high-end or a big, large-scale corporate, and why should they want to take a thrift to their physical space. We'll come to that, and that is a presentation that I just want to share with you. But in the meantime, I will just one second. Will you? This is you. Yes. Just a second. Okay, I'm just going to have to do it. Go on. So the question here was that why would a place like a Google or any of these larger companies, why would they want a charity thrift to come in? A thrift, a concept of thrift. Now when you say that when you are selling or giving away your clothes to the needy, you are donating it. So you also visualize a certain setup of a thrift store, right? Like a thrift. What does it look like? Usually it's heaps of clothes. Has anybody heard of Sarojini Nagar?
Yes.
Or yes, everybody's heard of Sarojini. So that's the idea of thrift, right? When you have piles of clothes and you're going to go through it and you're going to be bringing up something that you find might work for you, right? So what we have done at the Preloved Co is actually we have taken that concept and taken it up a notch. A lot of notches actually. We curate very heavily on fashion. So we make it, what I'm trying to say is that it is only high-end, not high-end. When I say high-end, I don't mean branded. I don't mean only designer brands or anything like that. I mean that it looks a certain way. We display it a certain way. We have made it high-end. So even if it's a simple cotton shirt or a dress or a pair of pants, we put it out so that it looks really good and worth it. Right, so that's been a challenge for us. But in the meantime, what we have been able to do is also we have been able to start a movement in Bangalore through the Preloved Co, which is about people donating for free. The products that we get sometimes have even labels on it, have tags on it, price tags are there on it. Sometimes it's Calvin Klein, sometimes it's big brands. Of course, I'm not talking about your H&Ms and your Zara's and all that. I'm not even going there, but there's a lot of that also, as you can imagine. But what has happened is, and what I really find interesting is that people are donating their sometimes new clothes. So how do you think that this has happened? Why do you think that this has happened? Fast fashion, right? Is it so what we realized is that after COVID, right, we have more than any generation before us. And if all manufacturing stops, right? If all manufacturing across the world stops, we have enough clothes to clothe 6 generations of people on this planet. It's not a joke. That much fashion. So this was just to give you a little heads up about what I do and have done. I'm a defense kid. I've moved around the country a lot growing up. I've changed some 8-10 schools while I was in school. I did my graduation in Pune, then I did my masters, I did my MBA from Symbiosis. I worked corporate for all of 1 year. I joined on the 4th of July and I quit on the 5th of July next year. Because I was like, I cannot, this is not my scene, but because somebody had given me a job, somebody had given me an opportunity, I couldn't even walk out the day that I had joined. I was like, this is not me, but I had to do it. And you know what that taught me? Can somebody just think about what doing something that you really don't like to do, what could it teach you?
Brings you closer to what you actually want to do.
Yes, that's a very good point actually, because it taught me grit. You know, grit. It's not that sometimes there's mud stuck in your teeth. Like, that's also grit. But grit is also this inner strength to do something that, to get past a difficult situation that you find yourself in. So it taught me that. I said somehow I have to give it 1 year because somebody has seen something in me and offered me a job. I cannot walk out on it. And honestly to say that my real learning started when I got that job, right? Because I had to learn how to work with an all-women team. I had to work in a situation which you can see me. You noticed me when I walked in. Okay, this person is not noticeable. Whatever it might be, you might not like it, you might like, you might not like, but you cannot ignore, right? So I was working in a market research, in a qualitative market research company, which meant that when I was asking people questions on their opinions, I could not influence their opinion. I had to be very understated, so which was not my personality to start with. But I said, okay, let me work on this. And I worked with a lovely boss. I had an all-women team. I had a most amazing boss who I learned a lot from. Anyway, so I did that. I quit my job because, like you said, you know, doing something that you don't like to do brings you closer to what you really like to do. And it's very important that, like everybody thinks, I mean, does everybody know what they want to be when they finish this course? You know, very good. That's 2 people, okay, in 20, maybe 3. Okay, great, good for you guys. Okay, so there is that focus. So, but for me, it was quite the opposite. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I used a process of elimination, which was like, okay, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and I had 10 things on my list, and I would suggest that you guys not make 10 plans. You make like 100, and you think that to make 100 business plans or to make, because you guys, a lot of you are studying commerce, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a BCom student. And I'll tell you something, in this country what we need is enterprise. An enterprising mindset at least, even if you don't start your own enterprise, right? But make business ideas, right? Make business ideas while you're in college, you can actually start making money, okay? But the idea is that you start with ideas and then you funnel. You funnel it so that you can come to something that you really enjoy doing. Okay, so I quit my job, I traveled for 6 months, and then I decided to start my own business, which was a small store. It was called Levitate. Does anybody know what levitate means? Yeah, so to float in the air, so rise above the ground. So that was my store. It was a little hole in the wall. It was inside a bar, inside a restaurant, okay, and I was 23 years old when I started my store. And I ran it for about 18 years after that, till COVID hit, and I used to do a lot of craft jewelry, accessories, all handmade, all made in India, and I would source it from different parts of the country, and I would sell it in Bangalore. So when I started, let me tell you, I used to source a lot from Rajasthan, and because I grew up, I did my last few years of school there in Jodhpur. I was very close to that state, so I would travel back. There used to be 3 trains in a week, okay. Like today you have 3 trains in a day, probably 10 flights. But back in the day there was only like 3 trains in a week, and that too was like almost 48-hour journey that I would travel. I would go travel in that, and I would source and bring stuff back to Bangalore. Sometimes on my back, I would carry like a giant haversack, and I would have these really cool things that I would bring back to sell in my shop. So anyway, the thing that I ran for so many years, I got featured in every newspaper, magazine, of every publication, from let's say a Femina to a Cosmopolitan to a Economic Times even. And why do you think, like sometimes I think back and I wonder, why was it that I got featured the way that I did? Can somebody maybe guess why that? What was it? I know you guys are probably much younger than the store, how old the store was in that sense, but what do you think was it about that we got featured in various places? Can you guess?
Doing something very different, like non that pattern.
Yeah. So I filled in a gap, and that has been a very important thing for me. And I would like you guys to take this forward for your lives also. Fill in the blanks. Okay. Just because 20 people are doing one thing, don't go for that. Because what happens then in anything that you create, there's a prize fight, there is a concept fight, there's a I did it first, you did it second, You don't want to get into that. I always thought about it like this: either you be the first, or you be the best, or you just be different. So these are the three options that presented themselves to me at that time when I was in my early 20s. So for me it was very much be different, because it was just the easiest thing to do when nobody was doing, there was no competition. For many years there was no competition. The gap was of the Indian design and craft, because the distance and the north and south of the country is so big that the South Indians didn't go to the north and the North Indians didn't come to the south, and they were almost two separate countries. And this I'm talking 25 years ago. So what happened was that for me I was living here and I had been there. So my home was kind of, and because I had been a kid who had traveled across the country, for me it was all of that. It was everywhere was home. Home is where the bags are. So in that way, I felt that I had an opportunity to bring, and a very discerning audience. Bangalore has such a culture and so much of a discerning audience. It's a very, they know what they like and what they don't like. So it was a great fill in the blank, because all the stuff that I speak about, all the vintage jewelry, all the craft, the whole upcycling concept in India has been going on for generations. Okay, it's so old I can't even begin to tell you. Like, did your mothers ever sell their old clothes for bartans?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So like a lot of people would sell their old clothes and get kitchen utensils in exchange, right? What a great barter system. I mean, you think about it, like how did that work? And this concept went all over the country. And then there was one village in Rajasthan that had like this, as big as this building. There would be factories as big as this building, where there would be clothes coming in, saris coming in big sari bundles like that big. Okay, and there would be like this double height ceilings, and they would be up to there with these gutteries, what we call, which are like these saris tied up in big bags, and they were sky high, and these would be made into dresses and then exported to Spain, to America, to France, to England, and these were like what the hippie culture used for festivals, and these are all our silk saris that would get redone and sent abroad. So, like now what you probably see in Goa, in a hippie market in Goa, is something that we brought into Bangalore. I can't say we, it was me, but in a sense of making it much nicer, making it much better quality, much more usable for, like the city. Let's make it like so for the Bangalore city. So anyway, that was the fill in the blank that we speak about in terms of product, right? How did we get written about in every magazine, in every newspaper? Was this MBA girl who's quit everything and has started her own business. I had my brother from the same alumnus, from the same institute, and he would be like, you're starting a grocery shop. What is this? You do an MBA, you do all the studies, and then you want to like leave everything and start a business. Why is it that in India, working for somebody is better than starting your own business? Why is that concept, right?
Because people are ready to take that risk.
Yes. So, yes. Again, my father would be like, why don't you join a bank? That way you won't have to work also, and you'll get money also. Join a government bank. This was his concept, and I'm just like, look at me. How can you put me in a government bank? Like, poor guys, like this is not going to work. Okay. So, again, the other thing is to listen to yourself. There is a voice inside each of us, that we have to kind of listen to and work with what it keeps repeatedly telling you. We keep quietening that voice. We don't listen to it enough. Okay, so during my MBA, I learned one thing. And I want you guys to also just take that away, because in 2 years of my MBA, it was the one thing was my marketing teacher came and wrote on my board. On the board was his first class, and he said SDA, and he says I'm going to use this acronym. It's SDA, and I don't want you guys to ask me again what it means. Okay, so anyway, it was a sustainable differential advantage. Okay. Yeah, write it down, guys. Whatever. It's like this is my big yarn of the day. It's a sustainable differential advantage. Again, it comes to the same thing, right? Make value. Create value. Don't feel sorry for yourselves that the world doesn't owe you anything. What value are you bringing to the table? If you're negotiating a deal, what are you bringing to the table? Okay? Give value. And I'll say this once more, like, it's like sometimes people say, like, I just put in 60%. I'll get 50% response. I'm okay with that. We're also very content people. We're happy to be mediocre a little bit as a people, as a country, I think. We're content. That means that you're not very ambitious, which is also fine, which is also great. But even in that contentment and in that space, can we give the best? Sometimes I feel if you give a 10% extra, if you're giving 70% right now, I would like it to be 110, okay? Like just a little bit. When you give a little bit extra, you get a great response, so much more than other people, because you just become automatically better than everybody around you by giving a little bit extra in that sense. So is that working? It's not gone in yet. Okay, no. Yeah, it's just being saved. So also to think about, the concept of thrift, when I spoke to you about these big bags of sarees that are coming in from across the country. So can you imagine the distribution, the language barriers, like me traveling to a state, which of course I spoke the language, but imagine those guys, imagine the whole distribution coming across so many states. That's just it's just mind-boggling, the way that things would come together, and in one state has made it profitable to work with one person's trash. This is a second-hand market that, so to speak, it's just they're working with one woman's trash is another woman's treasure today. You give away something, and the best part is about thrift is that somebody finds your product and they're like, oh my God, I have been looking for this, and that for me brings the biggest joy. Fashion is like the third biggest polluter in the world. Okay, fast fashion is not. We look at it as, hey man, it's available, it's cheap, it's in fashion. I'm going to go with it. Makes me feel good. Retail therapy is a real thing. If you're sad and you go shopping, it makes you feel better. It's a real thing. Okay, that is why it's called therapy. It is what it is. But how can we make it valuable? I personally don't think that fashion can be sustainable unless you weave it yourself and stitch it yourself and wear it, design it yourself and wear it yourself. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, of course, there is a community that has to be built around something. It's always nice to be able to do that. And today, yes. Anyhow, so while so where was I? What was I saying? Sorry.
Fashion can be sustainable.
Yeah, so this is, but what it can be is circular. One thing that, and that way is a step forward for sustainable fashion. Because it's still production. You're still producing. So now, let me say, I was a part of the IIM has a women's startup program. It's called the WSP, and I was a part of that. And when I wanted to create a product for the Indian woman, it was a bra, and I really wanted this to be made because it was supposed to be like elastic free. And I'm still like, the product still has not been made because I'm not a designer. Okay, I'm not a fashion designer to be able to make this. But I felt like there was a gap in the market, and I wanted to fill it with this product. But at the end of it, I could not take that product. I could not take that idea to the end because it is one thing that you're going to do today is you're going to make, okay, you're going to say like, okay, this sweatshirt, let me make this sweatshirt. You're going to make the sweatshirt. Then it's going to be like, oh, a green color sweatshirt is not enough. We have to make a blue, black, grey, maroon, because that's what people want. And then what will happen is that, oh, now you made sweatshirts, now let's make shorts to go with it. And now you have quad sets, and now quad sets in a few months are out of fashion. So then what do you do with product? Then next year you're selling it at 70% discount because you're sitting with stock. And you have waste, you have created waste. So where is that sustainable? And you put labels on your product. You want to give information about your product. But your that label is also not biodegradable, it's not recyclable, it's not doing anything. So in that way. But when I speak about fashion being circular, how does that help? At least let's keep what is already produced in a system which can be reused, which can be recycled, which can be upcycled. Can we make that cool? Like European countries are planning to give money to people who will upcycle clothes, who will recycle their own clothes. They're going to make it a cool thing to do. Can we do that? We've always done that. We've always done that as a people. Now it's become, oh man, now I'm fed up of it. Let me just, throw it or something. What about exchanging? What about swapping? What about what happened? Why did that stop, right? We always had cousins. Did you grow up with hand-me-downs? Did you have elder siblings, cousins who gave you clothes? I would have that all the time. I had an elder brother. I was in his clothes all the time. It just so happened like that. But how can we make it cool? What happened? Why did it stop? Why did it stop? Because a lot of you may not be from Bangalore. You're studying here. I'm not from. I've been here 20 plus years. This is home for me. But a lot of times when you move somewhere, you don't have that sisterhood. We live in now big gated communities where you don't know your neighbor. So that becomes a issue. Everybody's shopping online, but it might fit you vertically, it doesn't fit you horizontally. These are issues. And then you cross the return date, and now you have stuff sitting with you which you don't know what to do with. This is a problem that a lot of women face. I know that men. I will take and it's great to see all 5 of you. 6 or 7 of you. Thanks for being here. But I would like your opinion on what we're going to discuss after this. So please just hang in there, okay? So this is just, please ignore that. I just thought that everybody is giving a presentation. I also must share something. So you want to make this bigger, maybe? Okay. Yeah. So I have my chashma somewhere. It was started by a friend of mine. The Preloved Co was started by a friend of mine in 2017. When she's an old Bangalorean and works has a lot of friends who are very rich and old socialites and Bangalore and all of that. So when she did it, her first market was at the Milton Street fundraiser for a park, for a community park that was being given up by BBMP, and the local residents had come together to fundraise for the park maintenance. So then they had put out little to the community itself, and people had taken up little stalls and they were selling stuff from their homes, or cakes or bakes or chicken curry or whatever, They had all that. So she had started, her first market was there, where she started to fundraise for a cause, which is what we fundraise for primarily is called the Home of Hope. It's run by a guy called Otto Raja, who was actually like a petty criminal. He spent some time in jail back in the day when he was an auto driver. And now he runs a huge home for destitute people, so people who have been put out on the street, elderly people, about 800 men, women and children who are, some of them are mentally unstable, and they are taken care of. He has a hospital, he has doctors on call, and he has a safe space for about 800 plus people. So this is our primary cause, and it takes about 50,000 rupees for a day to run this setup of so many people, and it's sad that it's not by the government, but he does get some funding. That's just a side note for this. So what happened is that we organized pop-ups. We did not do too much of online business because we realized that it might not be something that is scalable in that sense. And for you guys, it might be easier to do an online business. Somehow, I think that people might think of that as what works right now. But a brick and mortar setup where you can meet people will always be something that will be healthier. And we would like to make this cooler. We want people to come and meet people. Like, you might not know each other when you meet at a setup, and you'll be like, hey, but I also go rock climbing on a weekend and let's do it together. Just giving you an idea. And this is how real interaction happens, and we're crazy about having people have real experiences. So try 10 things, buy 8 things. This is where we go inform, but only the stuff that we love. So I also work as a stylist. So when somebody comes in and says, does this work for me? We don't want you to make the same mistakes. There are some things that work for you, there are some things that don't work for you. Or there are some things that can make it much better for you easily. But just small steps, your whole outfit can be so much nicer. So this is where we come in. Okay. So gently educate, change perceptions. We're talking about behavior modification with the whole concept of thrift. Okay, it's a very difficult space, but it's also, we're doing this with baby steps, and we're doing this with a presence like us to stand there and make it cool by physically, personally standing there and saying that, listen, come and just check it out. And sometimes people don't want to touch, they don't want to experience. But some people are. There's changes happening really fast in the country. Thrifting is cool, and not only with you guys who are young, but also like a certain older clientele, which is also saying that, listen, I have so much to give. So when I come and give, then I'll come and shop, which is good. It works, right? So because you don't have to shop second hand, but you can at least donate to the cause. So what happened here? We lost a little bit. Can you make this like full screen? Okay. So we have like quality garments. You know, we are high on fashion. At like really, we sell our dresses at like $500. But what happens here is that if I was to ask somebody for 10 rupees on the street, would you get it? You say that I'm in college. I'm doing a fundraiser for the people who can't afford to come to college. You'll say all this. You'll have your university card, tag, everything. But will they give you 10 rupees? No, right? Because I've realized that, right? It's very difficult to do this fundraising kind of thing. So, but what happens for us is that we are saying, give me 500 rupees, take this dress. So they are like, when we're talking about the cause, right, they have a glazed look like sometimes. They're like, yeah, all that is fine. Like this. How much is this dress? So people are, without realizing, they're getting value for their product, okay? So this is what we work with. So, can you just make that you can do? Okay, this is not my field. We touch it, will probably stop working. So I'll just take whatever. Yeah, that's good. So we also started off with, because it's a cause. If you want to start your own enterprise, be it whatever, it's not linear. It's not one step after another. It's not the way that you would walk. Okay, you have to get as many arms out like a Durga to do many multiple things to get your enterprise off the ground. You want to do many things. It could be many things. It could be a little bit of advertising. It could be reaching out to the people that you know to write an article about you. It could be really like doing all the events, pulling in all resources. Okay, please guys, pull in all resources. Do not be shy when you start your own enterprise. Okay, so that's us, where we got featured in various magazines in the last couple of years, just to put the word out on how we can make thrift cool. Yeah, on fashion circularity. It's a big thing today. It's a key word, and we're hoping that we can take it even bigger. So who says this? I have nothing to wear. Yeah. So basically, what happens is that we have too much options. We have too many options, and we have overflowing wardrobes, overflowing closets, but we don't have anything to wear. And what that does is also, there are many things like deciding daily what to wear. A man can wear the same black shirt, wear the same black pants, and go to work, and nobody really notices. It's amazing. I don't know how that happens. But a woman needs to show up, needs to be different, do stuff, put makeup, do threading. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. So we want to make it joyful. How can we do that? And also what happens to women is that we think that we have to work for the clothes that we have in our wardrobe. We don't have to do that. They have to work for it. Whatever we are today. Who loves their bodies right now? Yeah? Who's happy with the way that we are looking? Okay, that's great. That's good to see that it's changing. But I can tell you now, whoever has not raised their hands or is not sure about this question, this is the thinnest, the prettiest that you're ever going to be, okay? Just enjoy it. Even today, if you see yourself and say, oh, I'm not okay with this, I'm not okay with that, boss, just love yourself, okay? Just enjoy this. So anyway, this is what we heard when we started the Preloved Co, okay? My clothes are from my past. People change. Today you are going in tomorrow. Today you might go work for a company like I did for a corporate for a year. I wore the corporate like outfits. I had my salwar kameezes. I was formally dressed in my shirts, pants and coats and all of that. But when I quit that and I started a store, I didn't, that stuff didn't work for me. And I really, at that point, I just passed it on to my friends who were still in the corporate world. But today, it's nicer if we can pass it on to somebody. And then when young people who are in the job space, when they come out and they find like nice blazers, it's really great. It really works. So, dress for your present. This is what we tell a lot of people. Dress for your present lifestyle. And so this is why the Preloved Co exists for us. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, where we were actually saying was that people are giving us stuff for free, sometimes with tags on. How did we come to this? When we spoke about that, what COVID did for us was that we realized that we have so much more than we ever had before.
Some people don't like using these
Second.
stuff.
Yes.
They always want it first hand.
So a lot of times people ask us that, is this sanitized? I'm like, did you ask that to your Myntra delivery that came? How many people tried it and returned it? And then you bought it. So go home and wash it. We are trying our best. But what has happened is, and what I was trying to say was that it's become a movement. Initially, when I took over a couple of years ago, I would know who had sent it. Like if you have sent it, I would know your name. I could write a message back saying thank you for your donation. It's so kind of you. Whatever, I could do it. It was personal. Today, it's every day, and it's new people writing into us all the time, saying I'm sending out stuff. I'm sending stuff. I'm my boxes. And then what happens is that we also say that listen, we only do good stuff in good condition. Please don't send us torn clothes or faded or stuff like that. We are not that. But why are we doing this? Is because what you donate to us is not what we are giving to charity. We are selling what you are giving us. We are raising funds because people cannot eat clothes. They have to eat food. So we are raising funds. So send us good stuff. But despite that, people still send sometimes really shitty stuff. Okay. So now what we started doing is that now we're like, seal the box, seal the bag, put your name on it and your number, so that we know, so that we can call you out if you need. But it's a very small percentage, I have to say. Most people, it has become a movement. We are overwhelmed by how much people are ready to donate. And this is interesting because they're not getting anything for it. We're not sending out somebody to pick up your stuff. We're not paying you for your stuff. How did this happen? I'm amazed. And what I can share with you is that people now have realized that they have too much, and the best way to help somebody else is to actually help myself.
How do you help people trying to stop?
So what happens is that it's about how do I help you by helping myself. It's like, please man, just take the clothes away from me.
She might not be okay with it. So how do you convince them?
So it's about an experience, right? It's a very gentle, like when we talk about gently educating. It's an experience. Don't buy. Just come say hi. Because it is a conversation starter, and it's a very gentle thing. It is not easy. And it's always, and again, are we going to take the easy way, boss? Are we going to do what's easy? There's the fun in that. It's not fun. 22 years ago when I started my store Levitate, I was 23 years old, and I used to sell really big nose pins, silver nose pins, to women who came with diamond. I'm just giving you a diamond screw. It's so they're so traditional that they would have like a diamond screw or a gold or whatever it was, screwed tight, no changing. And here I am as a youngling trying to convince you that you take that off. You wear silver nose pin which you never worn before, and you're like, how can I do that? What all did I hear? You can carry it off, I can't carry it off. You can do it, I can't do it. My father doesn't like it, my mother doesn't like it. Today I sell big bindis. I hear the same things 20 years later, what women tell themselves. You can carry it off, I can't carry it off. My children don't like it, my husband don't like it. No, so this is what it is. This is what we tell ourselves. So anyway, the best way to help others is to help yourself. You can cleanse, you can closet cleanse, and when you get rid of stuff, it gives somebody else an opportunity to keep that circular fashion going and stop hoarding. So this is where we are. So changing mindsets, guilt-free retail therapy. People feel that, okay, I've done a right thing. I've donated, I've given away 20 things, I can take back 10. Responsible fashion and closing of the excessive production in blue. This is something, I don't know, like, do you know that all the stuff that you find on a commercial street in heaps or in Sarojini Nagar, in those heaps, it comes as aid for the country. It comes as aid for like a earthquake victim, like, or your, cyclone victims, it comes for that. Or it is people who are dumping, countries are dumping their fashion on our shores. They're dumping. So it's not only us, because again, if you think about it, we are not the ones who are throwing out clothes. We will never do that. Oh, kapde cut karke, it will be your pocha banega, or kitchen ka counter cleaning karega. Like, you will never throw out stuff. Where do all our plastic bags? They're not outside. They're in a bag behind our kitchen door. We are not giving anything away. But we are moving in a direction which is aping a Western culture of high consumption and use and throw. So that is unfortunate. What is lovely group? So, the most sustainable thing that you can do for fashion wise, can anybody give me an idea? What is the most sustainable thing that we can do?
Use plastic.
Use plastic. Huh? Use plastic for clothes.
I think that's perfect.
But you know that once you put plastic in clothes, you cannot recycle that garment. So actually, it's not a very recycle. It's not a very good thing to do, is put plastic in clothes.
You guys take plastic from the ocean.
Yes. But you know that it is not a further recycle. That is not a biodegradable product. It will last for many, hundreds and thousands of years. And it is not biodegradable. And it's not recyclable. Once you put plastic in a garment, which is polyester clothes are not recyclable. So it's better that you recycle plastic into plastic. I just met those people who are doing the plastic t-shirt, which is great as a fashion concept, but it's not recyclable. And that is something that you want, the circular, even in the plastic space. If it's a plastic PET bottles made this chair, so be it. Let this chair be recyclable. Did you know that PET boxes, we do takeaways, black containers are not recyclable? I didn't know that. Okay, so white containers are recyclable and black containers are not. So anyway, these are some things that we learn every day. And so every time we do an event, we donate. Yes, please.
To answer that, I have two ideas. I think it's already there. We can set up a thrift show with second-hand clothes in it. And there's one more thing. There's something called shredding. It takes too much gallons of water to even make threads.
Right.
So if you take in the garments and shred it into fragments, you can already you don't have to color it. It's already colored clothes.
Right.
It will save a lot of water, and it will save a lot of coloring process as well for the next process of making the thread.
Right. Yeah, sure. I mean, these are great spaces. There's a lot of there are incubation centers for ideas. There's a lot of research that can be done in terms of how something gets used and reused in the end, right?
There's already one shop, one big outlet in North India. I'm not sure. I've seen in a video where they do this, but not in South India.
So there are like
Cloud.
Gunj is across the country also. They do really great, like recycling and taking over. They do that. What happens is at the end of the day, we have to segregate. We have to send the right thing to the right person to use it. So if we are using Tetra Packs, if we can send it to a person who's working with Tetra Pak, that is one step. It's an extra step. But if it reaches the right person, then there are dry waste segregators. We spoke to Sahas Zero Face, the gentleman who started it, and just having that as having these options in the country. It's also very important that corporates see that as their responsibility. It's not just your responsibility, my responsibility to do single things. I mean, it is. But those guys are also responsible. So they have to be taken into account in that sense. Okay? So this is something that wherein I come in, where I work on a one-on-one consultation for personal style, which means that you find a personal style. Instead of copying again what an H&M or a Zara is telling you that is cool, you create your own style, and that is something that is inimitable by anybody else. Nobody else can copy you because you are unique, just like everybody else. So yeah. So this moving, we can just, this is it. So we wanted to take this, where we want to take thrifting to a corporate setup, where while women are working from the comfort of their offices, they should be able to. This is what we are looking at scaling this year. While women are working in their offices, they should have access to a stylist, to a store where they can come and donate their stuff. They can cleanse from their cupboard. They don't have to think about where I have to go to a Boonj or a Preloved or any of that. We come in there, you donate, and you can buy something else in exchange and feel good about your whole circular fashion contribution. Yeah, we can go next. So these are the beneficiaries. So again, business doesn't have to be evil, guys. You know, who all thinks like, I always thought, I was coming from a service environment, I always thought that these businessmen are really like evil. It's all about the money. How can money be cool? No, let's not. I don't know. These are all the growing up trauma that I have to deal with. But today, business doesn't have to be evil. We can make money and we can still do good. Can we just take a few people with us when you do grow, or take a concept and work with it? So this was done last year, so that's why this has like 5 lakhs. So these are the fundraising events that we hold, and this is what we have been able to do. So this is if you were to do something like this, wherein again I say that we could easily do just say, we're going to do a Preloved. We're just going to do a Preloved stall. Why do we have to get into all this? This is where I spoke about doing 10% extra, guys. Always think about what else value can you bring. Because somebody, if you give a good, a good product, if you create a good product or a service, somebody remember you and they'll want to come back to you for it. So let's not just say, acha, itna diya, itna mila. Tumhara ye balance sheet, profit and loss ka, matching, but do a little extra. Just do a little extra for me.
The price and brackets.
So basically, because we are getting our donations come for free. So what happens is that, of course, we have other expenses we have volunteers who pitch in, we pay for them. Now we've taken up a garage space, which is now a retail space. So we're looking for somebody to come and pitch in a few hours a day. So if somebody is interested, please reach out to me. But just to say that we want a few hours a day, somebody who is interested in this, who can add value to it. What do you bring in your 20s to a business that can grow with your help? What can you do for it? How can we take this? How can we take this to a bigger level, right? How can we take this across the country? How do we scale something like this? So these are great thoughts. And again, I'm just pitching this also to you because I've run a business. I've done it for 20 plus years. The one thing is that how are you going to collaborate with people? How are you going to take people? How are you going to get them to work with you? And what value are you getting? Please do your research. It's very important. So that 1 year of research work that I did, which was really horrible for me, but even 20 years later, today I tell people that please do your research. Because it's so important to find out what is the gap. What is the gap that you want to fill with your product. So anyway, this is what we do. Okay, these are the markets that give us great spots, almost only spots where we can fundraise. So these are our Sunday Soul Sundays happening on Sunday this weekend, and we always do this Namo recommends. Community building.
Where are these in Bangalore?
Namo recommends usually again they all happen around Jai Mahal. So this one at Sunday Soul Sundays at Jai Mahal on this 20th. We'll be there with the Preloved Co. So, Culture Chatti, wherever actually this is all collaborative events. So we want to we'd love to, I think we did one thing at St. Joseph's also, if I'm not mistaken. We Live had done it. I think we got in touch, right? So they have done a pretty good thing, and we would love to, come back, because again, to be able to give great fashion for 100 rupee t-shirts in boxes, guys, it's fabulous stuff. So yeah, we can. So getting really cool people to say that yes, their outfits are thrifted, it's become a cool thing to do. Luckily for us, it's become cool, because really owning too much and hoarding it is not cool anymore. So pre-COVID it was cool to go shopping, but I think today that people want to experience, they want experiential things. They don't just want to shop, they want to experience something. So if you had a product where you were creating crochet, I'm giving an example, while you're selling your crochet, please show them how to crochet. Get somebody to use their fingers to do a crochet, and then they will realize that it took them 10 minutes to do this much, How much time it took you to do this much? So why is it 500 rupees? That's a great answer to it. Come, let me show you how to crochet. Let's see how long it takes you to make a top like this. So it's a great, concept, like in that sense. For your, I'm saying apart from it, doesn't have to be with whatever you guys decide to do. So, but yeah, this really helps to get cool people. Collaboration is key. Collaboration over competition, guys. If somebody is doing something similar, please just tie up with them instead of fighting them. Yeah, I'm on the same page as Worm Rani, who's so cool. Like, she's such an inspiration. So bad, sorry, this is a little pixelated. But yeah, create change, make value, and grow in that sense. If that makes sense, that's good for us. I think. Yeah. So that's my partner Mariam, who's traveling right now. But okay. So what do you guys think? What is your take on it? What? Any questions? That's all I have. No questions. None at all. So boring. Tell me, what do you think?
What you can see.
Okay, tell me how.
Like don't stop at one point of the pressing board. I used it. The same thing can be used another pressing after a period of time. That can be continued.
Definitely. So upcycling is one of the best ways to go forward, right? It is one of the best. If you were to say that is what I meant when I said fashion cannot be sustainable. I mean production of fashion. It needs to be pre-ordered. Like, how do you create value, right? Now, if you were to say, okay, I'm going to take this sweatshirt and I'm going to jazz it up, and then I'm going to sell it. I bought it for $100. I'm going to sell it for $1,000.
Yes.
It is possible because you are creating a value for it. Nobody has done it before. So that way, you have filled in the blank.
Yes.
You have created a value for it. Nobody else is doing it. I'm getting value for it.
Updating everything.
I am ready to pay $1,000. But if you give it to me only, I'm ready to pay 1,500 rupees. So it's about scale. How do you scale something like that? How do you scale? Now, if you think you've done one sweatshirt, you've done 10 sweatshirts, you tell her you've done 100 sweatshirts. How are we going to do like 100,000? How are we going to make that huge?
But that would be uniqueness.
Yeah, so then that's now. What happens is that do you want it to be like large quantity, or do we say that we only do 100 sweatshirts a year? No, we only do 100 sweatshirts a year. All sweatshirts are different. And for your sweatshirt, we are taking pre-orders. Give me 1,000 rupees today, you'll get your sweatshirt next week. So that way people know that, listen, it's a slow, now it's become cool that it's a slow fashion business. When I'm making my bindis, I'm taking pre-orders and I'm saying it's going to take me time because I'm making it myself. And there is no 100 pieces of the same thing. So that is where you create value. That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
This really focuses on clothes or even accessories?
No, everything. So we sell for us, for Preloved, or yeah. Levitate used to do jewelry. Now I shut shop, and Preloved Co felt like the next thing. So when I shut my business, again, you must see that sometimes when you're taking a step forward, you have all these ideas, but can you walk out of the door like this? No. So you have to take a step forward, right? For me, after doing this business for 18 years, it was all I knew for the better part of my life. I could not take a step forward. I felt stuck. I felt like from a hero, I had gone to zero. And I really could not step out. I did not know what to do. Because everything that I held in my mind as a sustainable business was not really working. Actually. Because how much more jewelry to own? How many?
I already have enough. Now I regret it. Why did I even buy so much?
Why did you buy so
And I
much?
have so much now that I don't know what
We
to
all
do.
are in that same
And
space.
also think, even if I give, who I want to wear it because I use it already.
No,
I don't-
that is something that still there are people who would like to do something with it. And again, what we want to do is that you might have one piece, somebody else might have one piece, and imagine if we join 5 pieces and make a really killer necklace. That then again becomes value.
Yeah.
So we are looking at people, and that is something. Creating value out of trash has become a really cool thing, and people are doing that. There are ventures which are working on it. There are some really fun things that are happening in that space.
You just said that
snatching other accessories. Why can't we use it on clothes? Like, you give me something, I give you something, and we make a different thing out of it.
It's totally possible. So, but you see that this is a very personal thing. So either way, that is what I'm saying. There are two ways to do this. Either we are keeping it tight and we are keeping it like very bespoke, very unique, like you give it to me and I will work on it for you. Customization. That is one way to go for it, and it's very beautiful.
And there is no second piece.
There is no second piece. Look, today if your mom has your first outfit as a baby, your jacket, your onesie or whatever, those nappies, they can be put onto a blanket and you can have it for life. Like these are memory quilts. Like, what a great idea. Who did this before? I mean, my father passed away. If I had his clothes, I would have put his shirts on one, on his sweaters and all, made one blanket that kept me warm for the rest of my life. Why not? Like, this is where you create a value for one person. It's a value. So, what else? What about
Question for company. So, like after collecting, you have to go through a process of cleaning the clothes, like washing it.
Yes. So what happens is that, yes, it's a very good.
Sometimes you might find any clothes with stains and stuff.
Yes. So I'm 45 years old. 20 years ago, if somebody is coming from the West, like they'd be like, "What do you want?" I'd be like, "Perfume, makeup, all of that." Now I'm like, "Can you get me stain remover?" Because that is what now in my life I cannot. It's not something that I need to do, but I cannot. It's become a responsibility. I cannot throw out a beautiful white dress which has a stain right in the middle. I cannot. I mean, physically I am not able to. So I have to do something about it. So there, yes, my washing machine in my house does go through, like, big tubs are only pre-loved clothes, apart from my 2 kids and my husband and everything, all of that. But those 2 buckets are used. Stain remover is used. And if it is not going, then we do send it to, we want to collaborate with some upcyclers and some. We're just starting off. We just started in December, the garage. So now we have a space that we can actually work out of. And this is our vision for this year, is to be able to upcycle and to create one section, which is an upcycle section, which is a premium upcycle section, which has gone from trash to class, like that. So, yeah, and we work with washed clothes. So when we are, and segregation is a constant thing. It's a pretty, it's time consuming, but it's a very important part of what we do. What else? Come on, something. I like your jacket. Where's it from? See, very nice. So yeah, but anything, you have anything to contribute? Hopefully the next time. Anybody? Is this good? Would you have something? Yeah, you guys, all good? It's good? Yeah? Thank you. That's good then. That's wonderful. Thanks guys. Wait, listen, don't go anywhere. Can I get one picture for my social media? Please, somebody from that, I want from that corner. Will you take this picture? Just a picture. Yeah, from there. In that, I want everybody in there.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not about fashion. I'm very bad at fashion.
It's your own style. Fashion has already gone out of style, by the way. It came this morning, it's out by this evening. It's finished.
Okay. So
Our personal style.
jobs, like after quitting the job, you have to decide on the one point.
Yeah.
Where you have to.
Yeah.
So for me now I'm stuck. I don't know after become what will I do.
Yeah.
So how do you make decision? Which way you have to go? Like how do you make that decision?
Okay. Thanks. So basically, I would say vertical. Yeah, vertical. Yeah, thank you. So basically, what I would say is, like I said, it's a process of elimination. No experience. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Point is that whatever experience that you do will always hold you in good stead. You can look back and say that job, that 1 month that I did somewhere, it taught me this. So as a youngster, I have to tell you, and don't chase money, chase the experience. If you get to go out of the city that you're in, go. If you get to travel, go. If you get to meet people, go. Just go, because it is that experience. When you grow older, your one conversation will be about, remember how we struggled. that struggle, that conversation will be what will give you joy. You'll be rich, you'll have a big house, you visualize it. So you can visualize it. What I want you to try is, just for anybody who's thinking about what they want to do for their future, I'm just coming back to that. Visualize it, close your eyes and think about what brings you joy. What gives you happiness? Thank you so much. What brings you joy? Follow that. Follow that. Because you might, it will come to that, to finding value for you through that joy. Through that joy. Even if it is, sometimes I would think like, I just want to sit under a tree. I just want to sit under a tree. And I'm like, I'm not going to make money sitting under a tree. How are you going to make money doing that? But tomorrow you might have 10 people who want to come and sit under a tree with you. And there's a business. So put down your ideas. And have a little diary. I carry it even today. Throw your ideas. Like how you travel and you have a suitcase under your bed. Keep throwing your things in that suitcase. Keep throwing your ideas in one diary. Because somewhere you will come to it. And it's not linear. It is all around you. So you can be this, that. You can be many, many things. I hope that answers. Come and hang out with me. I will get you business plans. Thank you guys. Thanks so much. Thank you.